Hello everyone, we got a hell of a show for you today. We got PJ and Philip from Paranormal Awakenings out of Ireland. And man, you're going to want to pay attention to their interview. They're very educated and they definitely have a lot of good information.
Well, it's really refreshing to have two individuals from across the pond. Can you just imagine Ireland, just steeped in history, folklore, and castles, and you name it? It just absolutely blows your mind. And I think what Timothy said, it's important that we are willing to share and not hoard. It's not a competition, folks. It really is not a competition.
No, and the amount of information that they give and as far along advanced as they are and the way that you can learn from them is awesome. Just because we've been doing this a lot longer doesn't mean that we're closed-minded and we don't think that we can learn. And actually, they catch some of the best evidence out there. And yeah, you're definitely going to want to take a look at it. And we have a picture that we want to show you too that they sent in, and we're going to discuss this picture a little bit. Take a look at it right here. And so with this picture, you'll see the three faces. 1, 2, 3. So three faces right there. Amazing capture, and you're going to hear more about the background of this picture in the interview. You're definitely going to want to subscribe to their channel. If you haven't subscribed to their channel, we'll put a link in the description. Also in this picture, you'll see two huge faces there. I believe this to be a mass of different souls, spirits, entities, just a whole collection of them. You can see the whole collection of faces there. They've got so much in this one image here that is really amazing. And this was taken at Leap Castle in Ireland. It is very amazing. And then if you look at this other picture, you'll see the faces seem to be stacked up on the left there. It's just like a stack of faces, like a stack of souls, entities, whatever. I know PJ described it as a very evil location. And so some of those faces do appear to have that element to them of evil, and some of them just appear just to be spirits. So it's very interesting to try to learn the background of what's going on with these entities, spirits, etc. in this picture. But yeah, you're going to want to listen to this interview.
And again, it's amazing to have two individuals that are so open to share. They're open to questions, discussing some of the tools that they use in their investigations. And that's something that, some people just don't like to share. And we can always glean something from other individuals on their particular encounters.
And I kind of want to touch a little bit real quick before we get into the interview on what happened this week. So we try to release one show a week at least minimum. We had a guest scheduled for Thursday. The same day the guest canceled, not canceled, she had to reschedule the show. So we rescheduled the show. That left us without a guest, put us in a bind because it's towards the end of the week. So immediately I started contacting people. PJ responded back ASAP, and I had no idea this man was in the hospital. So he just had a procedure done in the hospital and was under medication, but he sent me a message and he said, "Hey man, I'm medicated, but I can be on the show at 9 tonight." He said we can do the show at 9 tonight. At which point, that's the first I found out that he was in the hospital, and that speaks to his professionalism and his dedication to getting stuff done and helping out other fellow people in the paranormal communities, because he knew that we needed to get a show out this week. And so we thank him and we thank Philip for coming on early than they were scheduled to, so we could release a show for y'all this week.
And again, that shows they're certainly not hobbyists, and they're very professional again, and so open to sharing their experiences and their encounters.
And one more thing, I don't want to speak negatively of our guest that had to reschedule. Things come up, things happen, and it was a legitimate excuse on why they had to be a reschedule. And so it just happens. And that, that is a lesson learned for us, that maybe try to do the shows earlier than on a Thursday.
Exactly.
All right, take a listen to the interview. It is awesome. Hey, well, first, before we get into today's show, what I want to do is I want to let everybody know the professionalism of both you and Philip to do this interview a day early, which is awesome.
That's cool.
And I can tell you that I had no idea, because a lot of people don't realize that we had a cancellation for yesterday's show. And when I sent you the message, PJ, I had no idea you were in the hospital, and you responded back from the hospital that, yeah, you could do the interview last night. And I think that's highly dedicated and professional. So I give you applause on that one, man. You went above and beyond to even try to be.
In this line of business, I would do this interview even if I died,
Oh, wow.
Now that might be more interesting. if you came back and did the interview, hey, that would be really good.
If there's a way back, I'll find it.
Oh yeah, there's a way back for sure. And actually, we would like to invite, welcome you and Philip to the show. And I, just so the people listening out there can understand, the name of your organization is
We're Paranormal Awakenings Ireland. That's my new group. It's not long in operation, about 7 or 8 months now at this stage. The PSI Ireland was my original little baby. I set it up some years back. It's the biggest in Ireland, actually, even now. But we'll talk about that later on.
Okay. Yeah. Whenever you feel comfortable, or whenever you think you want to talk about it. And I'm just going to tell you that, Philip had sent some pictures, a picture earlier. And before I tell you what I see in the picture and what Alexandria, and obviously, we may see different things in here, but what can you describe? Because the picture will be on screen during this podcast. When people are listening to it, they'll be able to see it. Can you describe where that was taken? And I already know where it was taken, but can you, in your own words, where it was taken, what all was going on?
Which picture are you referring to now?
The one that you Philip said was the Archangel Michael.
All right, yeah, that was taken at Left Castle. It's supposed to be the most haunted castle in Europe, possibly even in the world, some say. But definitely it is very, very, very haunted. A very popular castle. It's there since the mid-1500s. And where that picture was taken was actually called the Bloody Chapel, up the very top of the castle. It was used as a church back in the day. And one brother actually killed another brother of his while he was actually saying mass. The brother was a priest. But his brother came in behind him and stabbed him in the back with a sword while he was saying his mass, and murdered him. He was called Taig. Taig was the murderer, and Thaddeus was the priest. So it is said to be haunted by Thaddeus and Taig. But there are several other ghosts there, but they are two of the most famous ones.
Now, when you, what makes you think that where did you get up with the idea that could be the Archangel Michael?
I showed it to several mediums, well-known mediums here in Ireland, and because of the colours white, and white being the highest colour you can get up the chain of saints and angels is white. It's called source, actually.
Okay.
In other words, it's almost next to God. He was God's number one angel.
Right.
He threw Satan out from the gates of heaven, So he was God's number one angel, and white is his color. He's associated with the color white.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate that education for sure. Here's something that we seen in the picture. It looks like there's 3 faces there. They almost look like kids' faces.
That's possibly correct, yes. The girl in the picture, she had just lost a child only a few months previous to that, a little girl that was 3 months old. That would have been my granddaughter.
Oh man.
3 months old.
Sorry to hear
And
that.
so we felt, because there was so much evil and the presence was so strong that night, we felt that the angel Gabriel was there to protect not just Paige, that's the girl in the picture, but to try and protect all of us.
Yeah.
Because normally when we're doing an investigation like so, we'll always pray to Archangel Michael to keep us safe anyway.
Right.
So I'm 99.9% sure that is Archangel Michael.
Now the three faces that I'm referring to, have y'all noticed those as well? And that's
Yes.
And I mean,
yes.
Yeah. That's
There were 2 children reportedly died in that same castle around the, I don't know, mid 1500s as well. One of them fell to her death from the top of the castle. The other girl was slightly disabled. She just died of a broken heart. And the third person in that picture was probably the nanny that used to mind the children back in the day.
Oh man.
Now we're only assuming, because I don't have any actual facts to back that up, but just from reading the history and trying to make sense of a very bad picture, that's what we come up with, you know.
Yeah, yeah. That's and the second thing that Philip sent was an audio and a video clip, and I was listening to the audio in there, and I hear what appears to be uh a couple of people, maybe some children laughing or talking or something, and then I hear a man's voice. So can you give a little description of what was going on in the video clip? Okay, before PJ gives the description of what's going on in the video clip, I'd like for you to actually hear the EVPs for yourself. Here you can take a listen to them. And very important, it is a video clip, and we're only going to play the audio portion of it here. We highly recommend you go and check out their work on their social media accounts and their YouTube channels, and watch the videos for yourself on their actual platforms that they're using. Okay, so here, take a listen to the EVPs.
Yeah, that is myself. I'm using a pendulum. We're having a session in a place called Kong that's associated with the film The Quiet Man. It was all filmed on location in and around that area. We were down in a place called the Fisherman's Hut. It's a monk's hut inside the Abbey of Kong. And as I was doing the pendulum session, I was not aware of this laughing going on at the time at all. It was only when I played back my video that audio cut in, and it's very, very eerie. It sounded quite demonic, actually.
Yeah, it's
a very demonic laugh. Very demonic laugh.
It's one of the clearest EVPs I think that we've ever that anybody's ever captured. You know, I mean, I've heard a lot of great EVPs, but that one was pretty, like, you could really hear that one.
It is very, very clear, but I have some others recorded in various different places. I have a very, very good one recorded at a place called Douglas Grove in County Carlow. I might be able to fish it out later on during the podcast and play it for you somehow.
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Because I mean, we love listening to them.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed with that one that came from the video clip. I mean, I was thinking, man, that is clear. Because we've caught a lot of EVPs, and usually they're not that clear. And man, I know Ireland has a real y'all have so many awesome locations there to do, and especially for people.
We are blessed, just blessed.
Yeah.
But the thing about those two pictures and the audios that you're referring to now, here is the thing, and not many people anywhere in the world can say this. These were recorded live on air on Facebook.
Oh wow!
So they weren't pre-recorded and tampered with. They went out as they were filmed live.
Wow, that is awesome.
So, and I will play you another one now shortly. When you're talking to Phil, I will try and find this one from Douglas Grove for you. It's an exceptional one as well. Very, very clear.
Okay, but just for our audience in Canada and the U.S., if we could give a little bit of history on you a little bit, how did you get into doing paranormal investigations?
I got into it, the investigating part of it, only a few years ago, but I had several experiences as a kid growing up. So I always had a curiosity about things I couldn't understand. Initially, I used to be very scared and very frightened, like any normal child would. But as I got older, I got a bit braver and a bit bolder, and I developed an interest in it. And I was very, very skeptical because I was trying to prove to myself that this is not so, this is not happening. But the more I got into it, the more I believed it.
Yeah.
I kept finding things that I just couldn't explain. So I started putting them down to paranormal, and then I started recording and actually getting evidence, just to prove to myself and to others around me that I wasn't actually going mad. That stuff does happen that simply can't be explained. Just can't be explained.
Yeah, I started out as a skeptic too. Like I was really, really skeptical, and I was kind of reluctantly doing it. And then my first location, it just, man, I got so much activity in that first location that it put out all skepticism in me that I ever had, and I definitely believe from that point on. And so I definitely understand, and I still find myself going into some locations, even though we know spirits and demons and angels and all this is real. Even though when you go into certain locations, you still go in there trying to disprove that location to be haunted because you never know.
Absolutely.
And I always go in there with that same mindset, like, hey, this maybe this place ain't haunted, and I'm gonna prove it's not haunted, and then you prove that it is, and
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and sometimes you're 50-50, maybe so or maybe not. I found now as time went on that I'm actually becoming sensitive. I can walk into an area and I can just point to a corner or a certain place in a room. And we use this gizmo called the SLS camera. Every group is using them nowadays. It's a structured light sensor camera. And it can actually show a spirit in the form of a stickman. I'm sure you'd have seen that.
yeah, I've seen that.
So what happens is I walk into a place and I just say, that corner there. And 9 times out of 10, the SLS will back me up. The guys think they can't believe how I do it. They don't understand how I do it. But I'm just sensitive. I know when there is a spirit around. The hairs on my arm stand. I get tingling down my back. So I know without any electronic, without any cameras, I know when there's a spirit present.
And so during your time as doing paranormal research and investigations and stuff, have you ever had an experience where you've been attacked?
Oh, several times. Lep Castle was one of them. I was actually assaulted there twice on the same night that photo was taken with the angel. I was assaulted twice that night.
Wow.
That's just one incident, yeah. And I have witnesses there. Phil was there to witness that. Because, I was bent over in pain. I got punched in the back of the ribs on 2 occasions. And another time, the same night, we were doing a pendulum session there. We're all gathered in a circle, all of us. So there was nobody missing or out of camera. And there was a bloody stone or a missile of some sort thrown at us in the pitch black dark. There was a lot of stuff happening there that night. We had intelligent tapping on the floorboards. We'd be asking questions, and we'd say, "Would you knock twice for no and once for yes," and so forth. And each and every time, we would get a reply.
And that was the first for both of us to experience that.
Never happened before.
in real life. Like you'd see it on TV, and you're always trying to think that it's the crew messing and whatever. But when it actually happens to you, and you can literally feel it like someone's tapping the bottom of your foot with their finger. It's freaky, but it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And instead of getting scared, we actually got turned on by it. We didn't get scared. We were getting turned on. We were getting a buzz out of it. Maybe we were gone a bit mental or something, but we were actually starting to enjoy it.
You tried to dismiss it at first.
I did, yeah. That was the skeptic in me. But once I started asking questions and I started getting answers, I was satisfied that this is real, this is happening.
Yeah,
So,
and it was all captured live and
again recorded live.
Can I ask, it's Alexandria here. Can I ask a quick question? You mentioned the picture where you're saying it's the archangel there, and you had mentioned that the location was evil, and then you told about the murder, the brother's murder. Was it
Yeah.
more? I mean, do you truly believe of incidents that the ground retains past incidents? Because, or could you elaborate what you mean by it was a totally evil location?
Well, it's evil in every sense of the word. What is there is demonic. There's actually a murder hole there that they used to throw prisoners into, and there was spikes on the floor, some 30 foot below the castle floor. And if you were lucky enough to land on one of those, you would die quickly. If not, it could take you days or even weeks to die. The place, it was just soaked in blood for many, many years. When the castle was taken over and modernized back in the 30s, there was over 3 cartloads of skeletal remains removed from this murder hole. And that would amount to about 80 to 90 bodies.
Wow.
And they're buried in a churchyard roughly about 2 miles away from where the castle is today, in a mass grave. That's just one instance.
Wow.
And the answer to your second question, yes, I do believe places can retain memories in very much the same way as, we'd say, a tape recorder. But that would be a residual. That would just keep playing over and over and over again, like a recording of a tape. That would not be a haunting.
Right.
That would be a residual energy.
You know what I'd like to...
Yeah.
I was going to recommend something that I think would be highly huge over here for our community of paranormal researchers over here. Not just that, but just for people in general. I would recommend that maybe you narrate a little documentary on that place, and let's get it out there, man, because I now that you're speaking about this, I'm really curious about this location, because I don't know a lot about the location, but I'm learning a lot from you. And if you did like a little 45-minute documentary, man, I think that would be huge.
We could do that. That's not impossible.
I'm talking about for and put it on YouTube, and then we'd share it. Like y'all could put it on your YouTube. Do y'all have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay.
We're on YouTube.
And that's
just type it in there on YouTube, and PAI will come up.
Okay, that's awesome.
I have a suggestion to make for you. How would you feel about maybe you and a couple of your buddies come over here sometime, and we'll go there and experience it for yourself with us?
That's awesome. I would love to do that. Hey, I'm gonna. I was just talking to Alexandria. I said we need to get over to Ireland, and we need to do some locations with you guys, because Ireland is a place that I've always wanted to visit, and so I would love to do that. I mean, we could probably set that up.
Let's set it up sometime. Let's set it up sometime.
What's the fall like in your area there?
What's the what?
The fall. Is it? Do y'all do a lot in the fall there?
Oh, the fall. Not really. No. It's hit and miss. If you get out once a month or whatever, that's it. But in the summertime, we go out as often as we possibly can.
And let me ask you a question about because over here what we're dealing with, because we like dealing with people like y'all that like talking about the real research, the real evidence that is real. And over here in North America, you have so many people that are really doing a lot of harm to our community, paranormal research community, because
they're turning everybody into skeptics, because it's very, very hard to get people to accept real evidence without trying to put, excuse my language now, trying to put bullshit on them,
Yeah.
It's hard enough to accept the truth. Don't make stuff up. There's no need to make stuff up. The evidence is there. If you look for it, you'll get it. You'll find it. But you have to be open to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think you're absolutely right. You have to be open to it, because I myself, I'm a lifelong empath, so
Right.
I can get a sense, and I have a keen interest in the historical significance of any location in regards to, past
Right.
events and how they play out into modern times. And I had a question for you. If you've ever
Yeah.
have you ever used dowsing rods in any of your
Yes.
investigations?
Yes. Yes. I have video clips of me using dowsing rods. I have video clips of me using a pendulum. Mark got one of those today. I was using one in Kong when we got that, laughing.
What is your
That's me using the pendulum there.
what is your favorite tools to use, or what you find that you get the most results from as far as paranormal research equipment?
Uh, I think your own natural body is the best. Electronic devices are handy, but they're only tools. I can't suffer or tolerate anything with AI, artificial intelligence. I
Yeah.
can't suffer people who use apps like Ghost Tube and these type things because they're rubbish. They're only interactive programs that's on those, and they learn. If you say a certain word often enough, it'll learn to say that word. If you say a certain name often enough, it'll learn to repeat that name, and so on and so forth. Your own natural instincts are by far the best tools you can use.
Yeah, and when you do, like, all right, so if you're going to do a EVP session, or you trying to catch a spirit speaking or a demon, whatever, what?
I'll only use a voice recorder. That's all, an ordinary voice recorder. That's it.
So you don't use a white noise generator at all?
Not at all. There's absolutely no need. And I see that's becoming very, very big now in the market. There are different guys making different things to create different sounds. There's absolutely no need. They're rubbish. They don't even work.
Yeah. Hey, we're
They're rubbish.
we're guilty of that one. We fell into that trap. So
Well, you see, you try out everything because it's the latest thing, but you find that they just simply do not work.
yeah, yeah, and you're right. On an ordinary voice recorder, you can capture an EVP without using white noise.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And the old tape recorders, if you can get one, are just as good as a voice recorder, and maybe better in some cases. I don't know if it's to do with the magnetism and the tapes or whatever, but it seems to pick up EVPs easier than electronic equipment.
Yeah.
We like to experiment with different equipment, and we wouldn't be the type of group that would go towards the newest gadgets on the market. We'd be old school, and we look for the older kind of equipment to use. So the older the tape recorder, or the older stuff that we can get our hands on, just to even try it out, to experiment it, to be the first group to try a certain thing that way, we find that we get a lot better results from doing that.
I build a lot of my own equipment now, even my SLS. I know everybody has an SLS now, but mine is different. I have been, as a child, I used to be an awful man for breaking things, dismantling them just to see how they work. So I ended up developing my own SLS here. I've added a little gizmo like a K2 built onto my SLS. So when my SLS picks up on a spirit, it'll make a little beeping sound, just like a K2. But it will only do it when it's locked onto a spirit. It won't do it if it's locked onto a person. And I put a little crosshairs on it, the same as you have in a marksman's rifle. So you can see exactly where your SLS is pointing at. And you'll hear the beep, 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 and you'll see your spirit. I'm just a devil for experimenting. I also experiment with different wavelengths of light, ultraviolet light, magenta lights, for photography reasons.
Yeah.
It's just the way I'm made up. I'm made up that way. I like to experiment with stuff.
Now let me ask Philip. Let me ask Philip for a second. How did you come about getting into paranormal research?
I kind of grew up around it all my life anyway. Where I'm from, the older folks would always tell a lot of ghost stories and a lot of tell you a lot of stories of things that they seen. So growing up, I heard a lot about it, and then as time went on, I, like every young person, watched a lot of shows on it and everything. I got more interested in it, and I think what really got me was 2 weeks before my mother passed, I had a horrible recurrent dream about her driving away all the time, and that was sort of what I didn't realize then was a sign that she was leaving. It was a premonition, but I didn't know it. I was 6 at the time, so I didn't realize what was going on at the time. So it was a factor of a few different things, and I just kind of really wanted to get into it myself and get on a team and get out there and do it in real life and experience it and see what I come up with as well. So been big into it since.
I have a question too, for both of you, because I know a lot of people are interested. What would you consider your spiritual suit of armor when you're going to a location, and then the aftermath of a location? Because sometimes there can be attachments. So what would you consider your, spiritual suit of armor to kind of, because sometimes it is you are doing battle of a sort.
Archangel Michael, always and ever. We ground ourselves first.
Right.
We'll always say a prayer to Archangel, ask him to mind us, keep us safe. And as for attachments, I personally have brought home attachments on at least 3 or 4 occasions. I've had to go to people and get myself cleansed, cleared.
I'm to say,
yeah, it does happen. No matter how much protection you have, sometimes you'll get a sneaky little one. You just get in there, and you've got a problem, big problem.
Yeah, well, you talk about attachments. I mean, a lot of people were wondering why we took such a long break, right? Because we've been in several newspapers as well, and we got offered television gigs, which we turned down because there was all about theatrics, so they wanted you to pretty much act to be on a show.
I'll talk about TV in a while. I was offered to go on TV as well, but I refused to do so. That was with my old group.
Yeah, a lot of us that are into the real research don't want to get up there and be a theatrical performer for a reality show. And so that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
But we took a break because we felt like, I mean, my health got really, really bad. And, things just wasn't going good. And we done some very evil locations ourselves. And we felt like, man, we just needed a break. I was never actually going to come back and do anything related to paranormal again. And we kept getting messages. So we kept just uploading old stuff until finally I said, okay, let's just focus on the podcast portion of it and maybe not do any locations for a while. But now that you just extended the invitation to come out there and do Leap Castle with y'all, man, I don't see how I can turn that down.
So it's my fault now, is it?
Yeah. I think you dragged me back in.
It's in the blood, man. It's in the blood.
We handed you the spoon. We didn't force it down yet.
Anyway, I found the CVP that we spoke about earlier. I'm going to attempt to play it to you now. It's very, very quick.
Okay.
But I'll play it to you. Here goes.
Help. Oh, Jesus. Nice. I'm turning her up some more.
Here we go.
Help. Oh, Jesus.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I heard it say help. It's saying help.
One more time.
Okay.
Help.
It actually says, who's that? Help. That's what it says. Who's that? Help. That was in Douglas Grove, but I had other stuff there. It gets very obnoxious. It gets very nasty. We're told to F off in different places and stuff like that. And they're not joking. You know they mean it.
Yeah.
I have one from another castle where they actually say, fuck your kind. And stuff, it's just gruesome, some of the stuff we come across.
Yeah. What's your favorite location that you've done with all this evidence and I know you have tons of evidence, so what I'm going to do is in the description of our show, I'm going to link your channel because I want people to be able to go and listen to look at all the evidence that you have and listen to your stuff. And you've got some of the best EVPs out there, man. I'm just gonna say it. You do. And
Well, thank you very much.
what is your favorite
Thanks
location
very much.
that you welcome?
Up to now, I would say Kong is probably one of the best locations because it's so big, and there's different areas in it, and each area has its own unique flavor, if you like, for EVPs, for photographs. You'll never go there at night without capturing something. Even Phil was assaulted in Kong one night. He was hit with a stone while he was actually doing a live recording on camera.
Wow.
He was hit on the arm or the other.
Was hit on the arm where the guys were setting up one of the cameras.
You were in the middle of an EVP.
And I was in the middle of an EVP, and suddenly a stone hit me on the right arm out of nowhere.
Again, we have it on video, live. It's just...
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
As I say, there's absolutely no need for anybody to fake stuff. If you look for it and you put in the time and the energy and have patience, you'll get it. You'll get it because it's there.
I have a quick
that
question.
Same night, actually,
Go ahead.
That same night, actually, I was hit on the top of my hat for standing on a tombstone, which I didn't realise at the time.
Disrespect.
And what it would be like would be, the only way I can describe it is like your granddad one time giving you a clatter on the top of the hat when you were a little bit out of line, and it was just to say, get off my grave, basically.
Wow.
And it felt as real as if it was a physical hand. It was quite shocking to feel it. But there was actually nobody there, and one of the guys at the time had said that I would stand on the grave, so I moved off the grave, but unknown to myself, I actually walked back on the grave again and got hit in the back of the leg. So the area around Kong is quite interesting, to put it that way.
Wow.
I had a question too, because being in Scotland several times, I wonder, these castles, and do you really believe, because this is, a lot of people believe that castles, of course, are made of rock. Rock comes from the earth. That rocks and buildings that are fortifications are sort of conduits where spirits can pass through, stones and any kind of limestone, etc. Do you believe that that's possible?
I do indeed. You have to remember that there's minerals in stone, and minerals will draw activity and they draw energy. It's simple as that. Copper, for instance, people use copper to make dowsing rods. Why? Because they actually work.
Right.
Minerals, spirits are attracted to minerals. And minerals will also, again, they're like the old tape recorders from years ago. They hold energy. It might be on a residual, and it'll play over and over and over again. But there's actually a memory in some stone.
Right. And what are your both of yours thought process on mirrors?
Hey, hold on before we go past that, because you're right about memories being in stones, because I know there's certain crystals that they call the record keepers. And
Exactly.
And I know one of the things, I'm surprised Alexandria kind of breezed past that a little bit, because she actually carries a crystal with her, and almost everywhere she goes, she pulls that crystal out and will set it down somewhere, and it's like a record keeper.
Yeah, and there's healing in them, and there's safety in them, So depending on the minerals that you use, and that goes back generations, back to the Native Americans, back to the Chinese. It goes back to the year dot. People would cling on to certain type crystals, stones, minerals, because they had belief in their powers.
Yeah.
The powerful natural energy from Earth itself and the nature itself.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people reckon, locations near water or a certain type of stone or stormy night or stuff like that can be more powerful.
They take energy from water, from stormy nights.
Like a full moon, a new full moon is quite powerful in a lot of places.
Yeah, and let's go back to because I'm kind of curious of what your answer is going to be to Alexandria's question about mirrors, because we've been dealing with that topic a lot lately, and I was wondering, like, what is your thought process on mirrors?
Well, I haven't dabbled with mirrors myself much, but over here we have a saying, people in the paranormal game now, if you were setting up a mirror in a room, you'd never have a mirror face a window. You'd always have it away from a window.
And what?
Because mirrors can be used as a portal.
Yeah.
A lot of people use them for scribing, they call it, mirrors.
Yeah, we tried that at a location.
You did. I wouldn't. So I don't mess with mirrors. I really don't, and I wouldn't mess with a Ouija board either. I have my limits to things I will do and things I won't do.
Yeah, I think.
And I reckon everybody should know their limits. They really should.
Yeah, and I think something that really has bothered me in the past about Ouija boards is that they in some locations they sell Ouija boards in children's toy stores.
That's correct. They sell them as a game, but they are no game. There's no game.
But hey, look, all right, look. I wrote a book on demonology, right? And
Right.
And before I wrote the book, I did years of research, and I'm not gonna be hypocritical about it. I mean, we actually have a Ouija board, and we've used Ouija boards many times, and they are no toy. They are definitely not a toy, and we had reasons for using them, and they can be very effective. I got a funny story I want to tell y'all. We used to travel, right, a lot. And we would take the Ouija board. Hey, so before we ended up buying an RV for traveling, we would go to a state or go to a province or wherever, some town or city, and we'd get into a motel there, and we'd always take our Ouija board out and put it up somewhere. Our rooms would never get clean because the maids were scared to death of the Ouija boards.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't object to being in a room with somebody who knows how to use a Ouija board using it. But I personally, I would not use one because I simply don't know enough about them. I only know that they are dangerous and you can draw shit on you that you're better off without. So
a Ouija board, no. Spirit board, yes. Ouija boards are way too dangerous.
I just don't mess with them.
Yeah, and like you said, you got to know what you're doing, and by now, after years of using them, I definitely know what I'm doing with Ouija boards, and I can tell you that it takes a long time to figure out how to do things properly with a Ouija board, and like you said, it's very dangerous.
Well, they're not for me, and that's I draw the line at Ouija boards.
So let me ask you a question: if we was to come out there and do that castle with y'all, you'd be against putting a Ouija board in there, huh?
No, if I'm with somebody who knows what they're doing, that's fine. That is not the same as me using the board.
Yeah.
I participate, but that'll be it. Somebody else would have to do the driving, if you understand what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, no, I understand. Actually, I consider Ouija boards a little boring these days, so I probably wouldn't even pull it out there. But, you can get a lot from a Ouija board, true. You can get a lot of dangerous activity coming out of a Ouija board. This is true. But I think you can get just as much without the Ouija board, You
can, of course. You can do a seance. A seance is as good as a Ouija board.
Yeah.
I've done several seances. Recorded live also. We have an American lady that has a castle here, Clononi Castle. She did the castle up herself. It was only a ruins when she took it over. She's done it up, and I have a lot of video footage that we got down there, and it was recorded live on radio. We had a radio team there with us, and they paid for it, because she charges a fee, but they paid for the fee for us to get in, and the people who were doing the recordings, they were scared, almost shitless, with some of the stuff that was done there. recorded live on radio and again on Facebook.
Wow. Is the I don't know what the real estate market's like over there, but you saying this lady
It's
owns?
gone crazy. It's gone crazy. This past couple of years has gone crazy. It's impossible to buy anything.
Oh
The
wow.
prices have gone right through the roof. But they should settle in time.
Yeah. Well, I'd be interested in what the cost of a castle. So you can just buy a castle over there now.
Oh, you can buy a castle here. Yeah. If you've got the money, we've got the build-up for you.
Nah, well,
That's the way it is.
I probably don't have enough money for a castle right now, but maybe one day.
Well, I'd be honest. If I got one for nothing, I wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
They're not that comfortable.
No, and you know what? Back to this particular thought process, because a lot of people say, or they use the term, the ground is sour. Because when I was in Scotland, there was one particular pagan church or pagan site that was over 1,000 years old. And what happened is that they built a church in the Middle Ages on top of the pagan site, trying to, I guess, suppress or whatever.
That's right.
Is there a lot of that in Ireland where they've, there's been?
There's a fair bit of it. Yeah. There's a fair bit of it. The main cause of it is back in the pagan days here, when Christianity was only new. The so-called Catholic Church and whatever, they would move into an area that was probably pagans or Druids at the time, and if they couldn't convert them, they would kill them, in the name of God, and build a church there. That ground would be called sour ground as well, because it would be very unlucky. It would be cursed. It would be unholy, actually.
Right.
Wow. I mean, I envy y'all, man, because y'all have a lot of awesome locations over there. But we care about the paranormal research. Like for me, this is a love. This is a passion. This is what I'm into. This is what I care about.
Same as that. The same as that. It's in my blood. I can't help it.
Yeah, I agree.
When we started this out, there was a lot of shows like Most Haunters and Ghost Followers, and just a lot of stuff on TV that was attracting a lot of people, but a lot of us, you'd have to sit there and kind of go, seriously. But when we started the team, our main focus was the realism of it. 100% realism of it, and that's why we decided, look, if we're able to do it, we're going to do it live, and people watching can see it. They can point out stuff. They can go, oh, we're after hearing this or spotting that, and they interact with us.
Yes, interactive,
and we can interact with them as well when it's possible. We also use body cameras, and as a team, that's quite important because it covers every angle. Because if you notice with a lot of these TV shows, the camera is never faced in the right direction. So with us, everything is covered as much as we possibly can. Everything is 100% genuine and seen there as it happens. Now, it could be a night where it's very active, or it could be a night where it's very, very slow. But either way, the fun of it is, well, it's fun, but it's also like pulling teeth, is looking for the evidence afterwards. But once you come across the likes of an EVP, or you come across a photograph, or a piece of footage, it's quite exciting, it's quite exhilarating. You can post it up and say, look, this happened when we were doing this live, but our main focus while we were doing it as a team was 100% genuine footage, 100% genuine investigation, and the fact that people that were investigating used to be human. They used to be somebody's family. They used to be a living, breathing person. They weren't always a spirit.
You treat them the same as if they were here today. That's what you do.
And I think with the way we do that, we get a lot of feedback, and we got a lot of good results, because we don't just go in there as the horrible word of ghost hunters, because in the end of it, you can't hunt something you cannot see. You investigate.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that the ghosts or the spirits or the hauntings don't come out on cue. and a lot of people
No,
get
they
upset.
do not. It's very much like fishing, you know. Sometimes you go out, you'll have a good day or a good night, and other days you won't. And you
Yeah.
have to treat them with respect. You have to treat them with respect. You have to treat them as if they were alive, because a lot of these spirits don't realize that they've actually passed.
Yeah.
So you speak to them just as we're speaking to each other now, and you get more respect for that, and you'll get more activity for that.
And I had a question for both of you too, being on the other side of the pond and having Celtic, true Celtic traditions, heritage. I think people are that have brought up in the Celtic heritage are more open. You hear about fairies, you hear about banshees, you hear about this. It's more of a you're brought into that with family lore, family history, and you, like I said, you're more
Yeah.
open to everything and not closed minded.
Well, we do folklore as well. We have a guy in County Galway. He has what he calls a fairy field, and we've been there. We spent the night there, and we actually, believe it or not, got stuff live on camera there.
Wow,
And I might send you a little clip of that.
that'd be awesome.
And it's
'Cause
my good self. It's my good self climbing up a tree to offer a gift to the fairies, because that's part of the tradition here in this particular field. And as I'm doing it, you can actually see this head come out as if to greet me.
Hey, is this on? This is on video?
Yes, I have it on video. And
wow,
we're going to send it to you immediately after we're finished here. I'll send it to you.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know, I want to get off. I want to take a break for a moment because you know, like I said, most of our audience is in Canada and the U.S. and they don't know a lot
Right.
about culturally with Ireland other than what we hear or read. So to actually talk to people who's living in Ireland, I have some questions that may just seem odd or whatever, but I would just like to ask a couple of questions, kind of off topic. Uh, like
Okay.
in Ireland, what like for y'all, what would be the traditional food dish there that y'all enjoy eating?
A bit of bacon and cabbage. Couldn't beat it. Bit of bacon and cabbage. And potatoes.
And potatoes? Okay.
Yeah. Or spuds, as we call them. Irish spud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a bit of Irish stew. Irish stew, another one.
And it's for music wise, what are y'all currently or what? Not even though he had to be current, because I'm gonna tell you, over here I don't even listen to the current music. It's just garbage. But like
Yeah,
what
I agree.
what?
I agree. I like easy listening music, and I like music in particular from the 50s and 60s myself.
Oh yeah, that's me too, man. I love 50s music.
And in my opinion, now you might not like me for it, but in my opinion, the real king was Roy, not Elvis.
The real
Elvis himself even said that at one stage in his life. He said Roy Orbison was the real king.
You know what? I like Roy Orbison. I got no problem with Roy Orbison. So no, I'm not a big Elvis fan, man. Even though I like 50s music.
All right. Well, Philip here goes on Smule, and he does Elvis. He takes him off to a T. He turns into Elvis when he's singing. Phil does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on Smule. On Smule, you can check him out anytime. They're on Smule.
Oh, what is that?
It's a singing. He'll tell you more about that now than I can.
It's just basically, it's a singing application. It's something I do as a pastime, and it's like a karaoke, but it's connected to people all over the world. There's a couple of million people on this app, and you do it on a phone or your laptop or whatever, and you just basically pick the songs that you like to sing, and you can open them, and people from all over the world join you, and you sing the songs together. And it's just, for a bit of fun, and for other people it's a bit of healing, pastime. People have different reasons for it, but for me, I just like singing and music and entertainment and that, and meeting a lot of different. I've met a lot of good people on there, and a lot of different friends. So,
Yeah.
it's karaoke, but it's less, as you'd say, tinny. The music be better quality than karaoke music.
You're the star.
You know, and I know Alexandria loves Elvis, but as far as me, because he did he covered a lot of other people's music, and when you listen to the original songs, they're so much better than the way Elvis did them, in my opinion. And so that's why I'm not really a hardcore Elvis fan. I'm not, I don't dislike Elvis. I can listen to his music, but to say Roy Orbison's king, that I have no problem.
I reckon that's close.
I have
Roy
no
is the
problem with
king.
that.
You know, and I think one of my favorite television programs that I'm addicted to when it was on and just watching, I can watch episodes on YouTube, is Mrs. Brown's Boys. I love that show. I love it.
Do y'all like it?
Yeah, I've seen them all about 1 million times. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
As we say, that's right.
That's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
They just didn't realize we were that famous over there.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask one more quick question that's sort of back to, because I have an interest in, have you done any, not investigations or any locations that had any peat bogs in them? Because I know peat bogs.
Yes. They'll mainly be with folklore now, fairies and that type thing. That's what will be associated with bogs, mainly. But having said that, bogs are also a great place for hiding bodies. So you'll never know what you're going to come across in a bog. Never.
Right.
Yeah, and she had a wand that came out of that was made from a piece of wood that came out of a bog
in Ireland.
Actually.
An oak.
Yeah, bog oak.
And she loved that thing, right? And so we were actually in the middle of a conjuring ritual that we had learned, and so it was actually our first day doing this ritual, and I knew that something was wrong when she took that wand that she carried everywhere and she snapped it in half, and I was like, oh my God, I knew right then. Yeah, we're getting in some deep territory here.
I can't understand why that would happen. Why would she break the wand if she liked it so much?
No, we were doing a conjuring ritual in which she was going to let her body get taken over
as a conduit.
And so during the time that she was not herself, she snapped this wand in half, and I knew she loved this thing.
It wasn't actually herself; it was whatever possessed her.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's something I wouldn't do. No, back in the early days when I started off all this business and we were trying to contact the spirit, we would be saying, would you make a noise, or would you throw a stone, or use my body? I will never, ever do that ever again, because that's how I picked up certain attachments. So I don't invite spirits into my body anymore.
Yeah, it was definitely a big thing with that.
It's a dangerous practice. It really is.
Yeah. Well, hey, Philip and PJ, we'd like to thank y'all for joining our show today. And man, y'all are awesome, and I highly encourage everybody to go check out your work, because y'all got some amazing evidence from your locations that you've done.
Well, we appreciate you. Stay well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye now.
Bye.
Nice talking to you. Cheers.
Cheers.